is a tree that I was thinking of having on my right hand side. This is the beech tree. It's lost most of its leaves, there's a few stragglers on there. And again, that's what I quite liked, because it's not too in your face. There's layers to the image, and you can see all the colours going on down in the distance. So with the intentions of pulling your eye through. I just don't like this area here. It's quite a big expanse. It's quite heavy on one side. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to bother. But it's always a good tip. The reason I wanted to talk about this quickly is just because rather than rushing down into that scene, think about potentially what you could be shooting, and before you go walking around and ruining, like putting footprints in the leaves and things like that. Sometimes it's nice just to assess the situation before you go deeper into the scene. I'll have a little scout around and see. But I really like the wet bark. Heavy rain creates that sort of deep, dark, damp trunks, which really contrast against the autumn colours, and a little bit of ambient light we're getting is sort of giving that sort of three-dimensionality to the trunks, because you're getting like glare of side light around the outside. There is method in my madness to coming out today. It's very dull, like I said, cleggy and flat and boring, but use it to your advantage. It's going to create depth in the distance because it's going to soften the background, almost like fog and mist does. And two, the light's very soft, and when you've got wet surfaces, it reflects that light. So yeah, there are so many opportunities even when the weather's not very good. And to be fair, it would have been better if it was raining, because then we would have got some real atmosphere. Not that you can really freeze the shutter in the woods because it's quite dark, but don't be scared coming out in bad weather. Right, let's have a look round here. No, it doesn't really work. Everything gets very lost in, and the tree's very dominant, so it's very like, ugh, in your face. It is what I thought. Too heavy on the right. Too heavy on the right. It's annoying because I keep getting drawn to it. Excuse me, I keep getting drawn to it. Onwards and upwards. That light's starting to come through a little bit now, like I was hoping it would. Very subtle, but looking promising. Right, so let's have it right. I've got a nice sturdy base. I've got my composition lined up. There's a few things I don't like about it. We'll go into that in a minute. I think I might have to move to the left a little bit. But then when I do that, other trees, we talk about this all the time, what I do, conform and they sort of interlock each other. And there's some that are doing it now, where I am now. So then wherever I move, I'm not going to get everything exactly how I want. But the thing that drew me to this shot is this light, this ambient light that I was talking about. It's a very complex scene, there's lots going on. Don't get me wrong, it has its faults. But I just love the way that the branch, the main tree on the left, the branches sort of swoop in like that, and they've still got the full colour on. And because we've got an opening and that light is coming in and out above, we are getting some nice glow, like a glow coming across the scene. So what I'm going to do now is put a polarizer on to add contrast and eliminate glare, but don't want to eliminate all the glare. That sheen, that wet look that I want, the polarizer will take some of that away around from the edges of the trees, which I don't want. So it's going to be a case of trying it with, without, and what I'll end up doing is what I do most times. I'll barely end up using it. It'll just be to take the edge off, and then I think we might try the mist filters again, because I'm addicted to using them, and that wet glow will just add to that. The distance is quite hazy, which I quite like. It is going to fall off. I will shoot f16, maybe f13, and I'll focus on the initial foreground, and I'll hope that the background will fall away, because it is very complex back there. But I do want the eye to travel there, so I want it to be acceptably sharp, but obviously it's naturally going to fall off. Right, enough rabbiting. Let's get some filters on. So before I put any filters on, just gonna give them a little wipe. Got this handy little case pouch, which is quite nice. It's got all my filters in it. And first of all, we're going to put the polarizer on. They're all magnetic, so it's dead easy to do. Let's put my ISO down to 50, open up my aperture. This is what I do for focusing. Somewhere there, right. This is just for focusing purposes. To be fair, I've made a schoolboy error. No filters, let's just focus on this quickly. We'll focus on, not the tree on the left, I'm going to focus on the trees sort of bang in the middle, like 2/3 in. A third in, sorry, to halfway. Use focus peaking if it's a problem, which it ain't. There we go. Right, now I put a CPR on. I like to look through the viewfinder when I do this. Yeah, it just takes away some glare. Which I don't really want. Because I'm going to hopefully use the mist filters. You can get away with having your polarizer slightly stronger than you would normally want, because you're going to introduce a bit of softness again. Right. Let's try that. Take a test shot. So what I'm going to do is go back up to f13, ISO 50. I'm getting a shutter speed. I'm going to shoot under because I've got a fair bit of sky in. I'm going to shoot stop under. This is 1.3 seconds. This ain't going to be fast enough. Sorry, f13. Going to go ISO 200. That's getting me a fifth of a second. 2-second timer. Yeah, not too shabby. Nice and sharp where we want it. Check all around your foreground. The leaves are sharp. I'll just check my histogram. It's telling me my blacks are blocking up a little bit, but as long as my highlights ain't, which I ain't worried about. Now let's dap that mist filter on. I'm going to put the half stop on just because I find it's the best sort of strength. And just stack that on top. There we go. It hasn't altered my exposure at all. Well, maybe slightly, but that might do down to the light actually. Quarter of a second now. 2 second timer. And there you have it. So here is where it went a little bit wrong. I decided to carry on walking through to a section that I knew I could potentially get some images from, and I had visited many times before, but as you can see from the sky here, it's very open, very hard and very bright. And I found this little composition, but the bracken, as you can see, is just very messy, and the foreground is pretty non-existent, leading up to a tree. That silver birch is very central. But we did film some pieces to camera, and at the time, maybe I thought I could have made something of it. I just didn't like the images, although the texture on them trees are pretty incredible. It's too far away, and the midground didn't really lead you to anything. So I decided to knock on the head and walk back to where we started. So we'll pick the video up back there. And here we are back to square one. You can see this original composition. Well, now actually, annoyingly, with a bit more ambient light, I really haven't got a lot of time. I might have a little cheeky go at it now before I go home. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed the different style, the wider scene, so you can see a bit more where I am, as opposed to being quite tight. Oh, it's actually quite mild for this time of year as well. So weird. So weird. A bit worrying as well. But anyway, we won't go into that. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this week's video. I hope you can appreciate that last scene, the potential of it anyway. Even now, actually, now that the sun's come out, you can see it's a bit bright on my face. It might be better now, but I'm not going to walk all the way back through them horrible brambles. It's skagged all my legs. Ugh, I hate brambles. Right, I'm going to have a quick go at this, and then we'll see you next week. Ciao. Bye for now.